Hello, and welcome to DROD RPG 2, Old Anonymous 4. This is kind of an impromptu stream thing where I was wanting to test this. I did not announce the stream because I'm also wanting to test my streaming setup, just to make sure things are still working. But Hold Anonymous 4 is a forum game we've been playing with 15 architects. Each of us were assigned 2 random rooms from this layout, and we had to build something there, and then we mashed them all together and hoped that we got a decent level out of it. Spoiler, we didn't. But, I mean, it should mostly be workable. There are just a few issues, which we will be trying to fix. So I want to play through the first draft of it and just kind of see how it feels in its current state before I start trying to make suggestions for things that could be improved or fixed or whatever. So before we get into that, I want to quickly go over the thought process I had for my rooms. So Kieran Miller did say, with setting this up, that there are your default stats are going to be 500 health, 10 attack, and 10 defense, although that's subject to change depending on if we would benefit from having different starting stats. But he then made a comment about if you assume that every single room has 1 attack and 1 defense on average, and that we have the first tier of wooden gear, so 10 attack and 10 defense from gear, we would end with 50-50. And that would make the first 3 rows of monsters fairly easy to deal with. You can see 50 attack, 50 defense basically means the Neither is not really hitting all that hard. Rock Golem would be the one exception. With 50-50 stats, you just can't beat this because you don't do enough damage. But everything else get pretty easy, and obviously, 50-50, you just one-shot a roach and it can't even hurt you. So the starting enemies become pretty easy at that point. So I kind of went with the assumption that that was about where we were going to get, but also that going from 10 attack to 50 attack is a pretty big jump, and that we would end up with a lot of the level being kind of trivial. So I made the conscious decision to be stingy on stats in my rooms, because I felt that would probably give a better overall experience. So I have 2 rooms here. I basically did this room first, although there was one thing I did in the other room, which was the very first thing I did, which we'll talk about when we get there. Okay, so with this room, well, with both of my rooms, I decided that, well, I made the assumption a lot of people were probably going to be doing some advanced trades where you're having expensive fights for good gear. And since my rooms were kind of central, like, traversal sort of areas, rather than being like these corner, like if you see 4 here, for example, it's in a corner, there's only one entrance into the room. So like that would be a prime spot to put, a good piece of gear. It's kind of what my thinking was. So I figured I would do rooms that were accessible for a starting player. So before you've had a chance to get any good stats, you need to be able to do something. So I just tried to make my rooms accessible for that. So stingy on resources. This is actually, it looks like it's higher than the 1 attack, 1 defense per room, but this is a trade where you are only really able to get 1 of these unless you burn an accessory, which would be super expensive and probably not worth it. So there's that idea. So you have 1 defense and then a choice of 1 attack or 1 defense, and my other room has no attack or defense gems in it. So I was definitely trying to keep stats low. Aside from that, this hot tile mechanism, I wanted to include a hot tile in one of my rooms just so that we would have the scroll at the very start of the hold that says there's no % damage, we're doing fixed damage of 100 damage per hot tile. And this, I tried to make it into a somewhat reasonable trade to actually run down the hot tiles and come back, possibly for that key. The main consideration with this part is that even if you're trying to go this way, there's a Roach Queen. So you're not able to get through here unless you have at least 24 attack. So that's sort of the trade-off I was going for here, was that the haunt tiles would be worth doing if the if you needed this key before you had access to 24 attack, or if you just wanted that defense gem really. And then the potions are there to offset the cost slightly. But so if you do that, it's actually a profit. And if you go all the way to the key, it's still a profit, but you slightly less. That's not true. These are doing percent damage. Okay. Yeah, I was confused by what was going on here. So the script for setting that is actually in the first room. So in order to demonstrate how this is supposed to play out, I would have to go from the entrance to get here, which wouldn't be that hard. But mathematically, the idea here is it's 500 damage to get the gem, 600 to get the key, or 300 to grab everything if you're also doing the fights as part of it. And then you get 250 discount the first time you pass it. So the numbers do work out that it's probably worth doing at some point, but obviously it's going to depend on the rest of the level. I also wanted to make sure that there were some yellow key for health trades available, just because, you know, it's not a terribly exciting trade to have, but it's a nice trade to have as a player, because sometimes you just need more health. So in case nobody else was doing something like this, I wanted to include them, and I figured if everybody was doing something like this, where it's, you know, 400 health for a yellow key, then it's probably, it doesn't hurt to have more of those available. And it really just depends on how generous people are with the key economy. So looking at the other room, the very first thing I actually did was I noticed that number 2 here is a dead end, but it's in the center of the level. So it's kind of a very prominent place. And my immediate thought was, if I had number 2, I would put something special in here. I'd put a sword or a shield or, you know, something. Blue key. Lots of options. And so I was running under the assumption that there would be something good in that room that's worth getting to. So I wanted to make it expensive to get into that room. But of course, I have no idea what, I think it was Bomber50 who had this room. I had no idea what Bomber was going to end up doing with it. So, you know, just kind of ran with the assumption that this was a good idea, and we'll see how that played out. Aside from that, there's a little bit of a story about this being like, there being a bunch of rocks and also a tomb here. So I figured doing some rocks and growing some shovels in here was a possible idea, just to kind of nod to the story that we were given. And then the other thing I wanted to do was kind of make some choices that relied on other people just randomly having things. So this green door here, there is no green key in either of my rooms, so this isn't even an option unless somebody else gives you access to a free green key. This over here, with the sword, you can break a crumbly wall, which allows you to skip the spider fight. I had no idea if there was going to be a sword or not. I had an assumption. I actually assumed that multiple people were probably going to do it, but yeah, that was kind of the idea there. So with a sword, you can actually skip some fights if you are so inclined. And then the shovels, this is a thing where I'm actually doing a playthrough right now, and I think I've actually seen most of the new stuff, but shovels I was spoiled on during the, there was a thread talking about new features, and that was the one thing I saw in it before I quit out of the thread. So, you know, I was spoiled on the existence of shovels, and they will be playing a role in this level. But at this point, I guess spoilers are what they are. I'm involved in architecture at this point, so I can't really complain if I see, like, oh, there's a dirt block. Or, yeah, dirt block, that's what it's called. So, it is what it is. But I threw this in here despite not having any dirt blocks in my levels, because I figured, again, hey, someone might have them, and you might need these as a resource for that. And then up here, this was a little bit tricky. I wasn't sure how I wanted to do this, so this was just intended to be a relatively easy early trade to make. in case people are locking everything behind doors and you needed access to a key to get access to it. And then this is intentionally set up as a bad trade from a score perspective, although I did talk about score in chat, and Karen probably rightly pointed out that you probably shouldn't be balancing your rooms around score. That's just sort of a thing to worry about later, I guess, when you're playing the game. But anyway, creating a yellow key for 200. The yellow key is worth 400 health on standard score rules. And then, so it was kind of like that, but it was like an upfront cost for this. And then obviously trading one yellow key for 2 yellow keys is a good trade. You want to do that. But in order to do that, 1, 2, and then 3 to get out. You're taking 3 Mad Eye hits in order to get it, which currently are 85 damage apiece, I think, but that'll obviously get cheaper as you get defense, or if you get enough attack to actually kill the Mad Eye, that's another option as well. And then just another, yellow key for 400 health trade here, which was, locked behind the yellow key for 200, though it's actually not a score neutral trade, unless you're doing the other stuff already anyway. So yeah, those are my 2 rooms. I also wasn't sure about how much accessibility I wanted to give in terms of blocking off parts of the level, so I kind of, I put a monster here to make this one route a little bit easier, or a little bit harder, whereas the other ones, this is just free passage. And I really wasn't sure how other people were going to do it, and there was a possibility of either the entire level being completely open from the start, or everything being blocked off in various ways. Like this, for example, the Evil Eye is facing in this direction, you can attack it from this side and get a discount. Both sides might just be open from the start, at which point you never even want to fight this until it's free. And then this was, I guess, also trying to sort of make it so it's not completely free to get to room 11 here. But you have a choice of a fight that you really don't want to take without any gear, or, these are also going to be set to 25 Greckles apiece. So it's expensive to go through, but you can save 50 Greckles by doing the Mud Baby if you want to. So yeah, with all that done, choose level set, just make sure I am in the correct one here. Let's actually give this a little bit of a playthrough and see what it's like in its current form. So yeah, previously Hold Anonymous is a bit of an infamous hold. It's quite difficult, especially in the early levels. There's some pretty tight optimization. But Nameless Fortress and RPG and Anonymous 3 are other times that this sort of thing has been done. I did a playthrough on the channel of Nameless Fortress. It was a pretty good time, although there's some confusing scripting stuff, and this came up in chat. Nobody in chat's been talking about RPG Anonymous 3 since this started, so I guess that exists. I'm not familiar with it. But Hold Anonymous, definitely a fairly infamous hold, very difficult. But also pretty fun. So, Nameless Fortress was fun too. I haven't played Anonymous 3, but overall I would say that this process ends up with some actually interesting and decent holds. So players built 2 rooms, each without knowing what others are building. And then this was followed by fixing, which we haven't done yet, but we will. Authors, all these people here. And, one other thing I wanted to talk about. We'll skip that for now. Yeah, so 25 Greckles and 100 fixed hot tile. So one other thing I wanted to mention before going to this is that I deliberately only use default monsters. And the reason for that was that I feel that there's a certain overwhelmingness to the player to force them to do like if you give them a level, like we have 30 rooms here and 15 different architects. If every single architect had a custom monster, then that's 15 different monsters, 15 different sets of stats, in addition to the standard stats. And that would make it really kind of a big mental tax on the player to decide, okay, I just got an attack gem, which places now have cheaper uh, rewards than they used to, and like trying to keep track of all of that. And generally, I think you want some variety in enemies, but you don't want too much variety. I think there's like a sweet spot for it. So I intentionally didn't use custom monsters. It's not at all because I'm lazy and didn't want to design any. I swear. But so there was that. I was also kind of running with the assumption that other people are going to be doing a lot of custom stuff, and in particular custom scripting. I did kind of briefly peruse the level, and I noticed quite a few people were doing scripting stuff. I'm a bit leery of that because I think scripting is something that you really need to know what you're doing in order to make it actually good. And in a random hold like this, even a good architect is probably going to have some pretty rough scripting stuff. It's just kind of my general thoughts on that. Also, is probably just personal bias, but because of the way that the Descended King Hesper played out, which came out recently, I think it's a very good hold overall, and I did actually like a lot of the custom scripting stuff that went into it. But because of the way I did the final testing run of it, I was just so sick of scripted elements by the end of it. So I've kind of just, I would prefer only standard stuff for a bit, is I guess where I'm going with that. Anyway, so in order to play this, I happen to know because I've been following the discussion. This is broken. There's a thing you can do early on that just completely trivializes the rest of the level. I'm going to intentionally not do that because that will be being fixed. But I will just take a look at everything else. So, okay, we have a mean fish here as a custom enemy, which is a weaker water skipper. So there's a bunch of stuff there that we could just take if we take a bunch of damage. And same with the water skipper, right? We can take stuff, but we're taking a lot of damage for that. I'm not going to look at each room in too much detail right from the start because I think the first thing to do is just to see how far you can go. And yeah, okay, so because we started at the beginning, you can see hot tiles are doing 100 damage, Greco gates are 25. So we can go over here, more stuff. So how open is this layout? We do need a yellow key to get through here. Okay. Here's my room with the eye. So let's see if we can get to the other side of the eye without any interaction with any fights. Well, answer is yes. Okay. So that eye is just kind of an annoying obstacle that doesn't serve any purpose. This room looks like somebody else did kind of the same thing I did. You have a trade here. But instead of my... Oh, it's just right here, I can show you. Instead of 1 health or 1 defense and a little bit of health, they went for 3 attack and 6 defense as the trade. However, this is not something you can do right from the beginning, so this is a choice you're going to have to make later. So it is a little bit different than what I did. Here... Alright, so we've got a dirt block there, which... I've never used the shovels, but I assume you just bump it. 3 shovels, I guess, for this one. So if I had 3 shovels, I could just get in there. Oh, this isn't free either. Okay. So that's as far as you can get on that side. We go to the right. Out to lunch. If you want to rent a coastal platform, leave Greckles in the jar, please. Okay. So 25 Greckles for a platform, and then we can... So basically it's 25 Greckles. Well, okay. To get in here, which is going to be 2 Mad Eye hits for 3 attack. I mean, honestly, 25 Greckles and 2 hits for 3 attack isn't terrible. And then you get a platform, and then you get to basically use the platform to remove the force arrows so that you can access this part of the level. And obviously, if you're doing that, you will just grab the attack gem before going through here. So this pressure plate really only matters for blocking that if you access this room from here before you pay the toll. But that seems like something you definitely want to just do. Alright, we got some kobolds here. These are not really reasonable to fight, but they are a goblin type enemy, so I can take 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits to get past there. So I'm looking at 280 damage for yellow key. Also, we are blocked off from going any further until we get a sword. Okay, so this is actually looking quite a bit more locked off than I was expecting. And if we go down here, we have to do a fight in order to get somewhere. But it's not too expensive to go south. Okay, so looking at it, this is what we have access to without making any choices that will cost us anything. Also, might as well. There's 15 free health there. Alright. So, the main goal then is going to be getting a bunch of stats as cheaply as possible, which really means exploring to get to the weapons and the shields. So, explore start. And let's just see what we have to do in order to get somewhere. Okay, so because of how this is set up, I happen to know this is not going to open until we've done a whole bunch of fights, because the Roach Queen will always spawn in the direction towards you. It is possible that we can maybe get the back to fill in. Like if we fight this spider, for example, the Roach Queen will spawn here before spawning in those 2 spots, I believe. Assuming that these 5 are all full. But I think we're looking at a minimum of 6 fights in order to open this door. Or 3 shovels and we just step on this. So if we get 3 shovels, then we're just good to go. Evil Eyes aren't going to hit that hard. So since we're exploring, we can at least just go south here. How else could I get to this room? So 3 shovels, or a yellow key, or 75 Greckles. Like, this is actually looking like the most expensive way to get to this side of the room, of the level. So yeah, yellow key, or 3 shovels. Okay, if we come down here, this also unlocks that, at which point we get a Mad Eye from behind for 2 green keys, which we can then trade for a blue key if we want to. Okay, nice simple room, but it does give us some keys that'll be important later. Okay, so I was talking about how, you know, the stats can get out of hand real quick. We're trying to keep, I thought that maybe we want to keep things low, and just to be clear, that wasn't a prescription on how people should do it. It was just my own feelings on how things should be going. Everybody in chat is talking about the short sword and how it kind of just breaks the entire level. And I think this is kind of what I was saying, or what my thoughts are on that, because 30 attack is huge. Plus, as a sword, it also gives you first strike, which means you're taking 1 less hit, because currently if I attack the brain, it's hitting me 4 times, but that's because I don't have a weapon. If I had a weapon, I would get the first strike and it would only hit me 3 times. So the sword is not only plus 30 attack, but it's also first strike. And it lets you break the broken walls, which we've already seen gives us access to another part of the level. So this is very powerful. Now, it is locked behind these doors. We have the Guardian Spider here, which is a slightly tougher spider. Actually does less damage, but slightly more health, but a lot more defense. So pretty tough fight. And then you also need a sword in order to hit this orb. So we would need one of the other two weapons in order to get in here, unless we door walk. If we come in here with 2 yellow keys and 2 green keys, we can actually just get the sword and leave without doing anything else in the room. And yeah, it turns out that doing that will completely break the level. That is certainly going to be, like, there's a lot of discussion in chat. We will be removing the ability to do this, so I'm not even going to attempt it in this playthrough that I'm doing right now, because I feel like there's no point in testing that, because people have already done it and determined that it's not going to work, that it's not worth keeping. A couple of suggestions that I've seen in the chat, including from the person who created this room. Maybe just remove these little bits here, so that these are 3 separate doors, and you're then forced to spend 2 keys and also do the fight, which I think would force you to actually get a sword in order to go in here. I've also seen just put a broken wall somewhere in this room so that you need a sword to get in. Would be another way of doing it. So I mean, there are things that we're looking at to fix it, but yeah, for now that's not something I want to engage with. Alright, so if you come up this way... interesting, so I get to cross here once for free in this direction. And then I'm having to spend a bunch of resources every other time I come through. I'm also taking 2 Mad Eye hits to get out, going this way. So it's probably actually cheaper just to go back, but I mean, we're doing exploration, so... let's do that. What does this have to say? Discarded pages from an arcane tome. Shimmer with power, a little power at least. You still just might need it. The Scroll of Might +3 gives +3 attack for 1 fight only. Scroll of Might +3. Okay, so we're probably going to want a custom graphic, or at least copying the scroll graphic for those then. So yeah, we've got some scripted stuff. This is a very busy room. There's a lot going on here. Alright, got to my other room. Which, yeah, I guess we're gonna go through here. And we're immediately blocked off. Okay. So crates have been in DROD for a while. I've never dealt with them because they were in a non-release version. But I guess they are now in DROD RPG 2. They've been formally added to the game. They might actually still be usable in DROD RPG 1, like the old engine. But I have not played around with them. Alright, so we cannot get through... We need 2 yellow keys, basically, to get through here. Or a yellow key and a shovel. Alright. And I think that's it then. Like, I don't actually think there's anywhere else we can even reasonably get to. Yellow key and a shovel isn't going to be too expensive, so let's actually restore to here. There was a... not free, but yeah, yellow key and a shovel. So if I just do this, I now have a yellow key and a shovel. Oh, also, there is free health in this room. Okay, so I know I'm going to have to go through a few fights, or I can just go this way if I'm doing a few fights anyway. Alright, in that case, let's just do this. I guess the issue with that is that I'm locking this off until I spend a yellow key on that. Hard to know if it's worth it, but it does give me another yellow key for now, and since we're doing exploration stuff still, because I don't have a weapon, I'm not heavy enough to drop that. And we still have to go through this thing, okay. But I have some resources, get some health. Okay, we'll use the key. I'm not sure why I bothered doing that, because I do not have the stats to get through here anyway. Okay, so I have proven that you can get through here. Good job, me. Okay, so obviously in its current state this is what we would be going for, because collecting 2 yellow keys and 2 green keys shouldn't be too bad. There are definitely, those things do exist. Although we do have to do a Mad Eye fight for the green keys, but lots of yellow keys. Okay, we just take a hit per green key there, so that one's not free, but reasonable. I guess there's a green key here behind a gray man. I don't know. Well, clearly we do need to do more. Figuring out where to get that second green key. There's a yellow key down here though, so actually that's going to be pretty easy. Again, let's just grab this so that we have... some stuff. Wait, come here. What is it? Look at this interesting rock that fell out of this pile. Looks like an ordinary shield gem to me. Glows strangely, though. It isn't. Apparently this one actually reduces your defense by 1. What? Why would I want it then? It brings those who take it good luck for this room. Every successful kill will grant you 2 extra grepples. The effect only lasts until you exit the room, and then it's gone forever, though. Your defense is reduced by 1. But fighting monsters gives you 2 more grepples. Okay, so I'm assuming our defense will not reset. May the luck be with you. But now if I look at it, it says 2, but I got 4. Alright, and I left the room. Now I'm only getting 2, but I am down the defense still. Okay, so permanent defense loss. Oh, I survived that. I'm surprised. A lot of damage. 3 defense is pretty good, though. And then we get to the other side here, so yeah, this is never worth paying. Well, I guess if you really want to save a single yellow key. Alright, so that gives us access to this room. See what people are saying about this being actually pretty hard, because there's not a whole lot you can do to get started. Which is probably a good thing, because ultimately that does make things easier in a way. So there is this option as well. If we can get 25 grepples, we can go through here, and this gives us access to more rooms, closer to shields, and it gives us 3 attack. So that seems like a very good thing to do. So yeah, if I do that, that's pretty expensive. I feel like one of these is probably good, so I guess the other thing to do is to decide whether you want to be on an attack route or a defense route. Which you don't have to commit to one or the other, but people like to do it, and it kind of makes sense. So I'm actually kind of looking at these rooms now and trying to decide where I want to start. So there's a lot of keys here I can get. There's also these fluff vents. So I can fight you, and then you get no defense, but I get no defense. Now, if I do it this way... I get the benefit of the defense, and you don't. I was also wondering if someone was going to do something like that, where you put a roach egg on mist so you can just kill it. Which is kind of funny. However, that does lock us out here. I guess I can just run in now, right? Oh no, that's water. Okay, never mind. So I am required... to do that. Also interesting that attacking a roach egg spawns mist, but doesn't cause roach queens to spawn. I think it's a specific exception in the roach queen, that roach queens don't spawn when you attack eggs, because otherwise you would just have infinite eggs. Okay, so there's some interesting things we can do here. Ultimately, though, if we want those 2 shovels, we would need to spend, I think, a green key. Well, no, we can... Oh yeah, because we lose access to them if we go in. So my choice here, then, is I can do a roach queen fight for 1 shovel. That's almost certainly not worth it. So I feel like this whole section we're probably just going to ignore. Yeah, because there are lots of shovels around, like this trade, for example. It's the thing about random architects doing stuff. It's like, yeah, you can kind of just do whatever. Okay, so this is a trade where you have to pay a yellow key for the 2nd gem. That's pretty cheap. That's a good start. This stuff is way too expensive to be worth taking early on. Unless we like really need that green key. Yellow key does get us some pretty good stuff here, though. It gets us 1 attack right away, which is nice because that makes roaches cheaper, I believe. Roach, antlion. How does it affect wraithwings? Wraithwings are 2, right? Yeah, okay. Evil Eye is 1. So yeah, 1 attack makes a big difference. Now we could go through this room. Okay, this is just taking a bunch of damage for a yellow key. I'm not really interested in doing that right now. Okay, that's relatively expensive. I can run through here, which gives me access to the rest of this level. Is there anything in the rest of the level I actually want to do, though? These fights are too hard right now. This room, there's nothing I can do. If I'm pretending that this room doesn't exist, like, none of the fights are reasonable right now, and I'm not doing sword. So then there's this room, which is kind of intimidating. There's a ton of stuff going on in here. And you're penalized every time you come into the room. So we want to make as few trips through here as possible. Here... I guess we got a yellow key for cheap. That would be the main reason. There's no reason to go through the Wraithwing. We've determined that last time. And then there's this room, which I guess we could enter from the south if we went all the way around. But I mean, if we're taking those hits, we might as well just kill 2 roaches to get through here and permanently open the way instead of having to potentially run past these guys a bunch of times. That's interesting. So this setup is saying you spend a yellow key to get through it, and then you have to spend a 2nd yellow key to get through it going back. At which point it's permanently open. And there's a green key, that's expensive. Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff here. Oh, there's a green key, yellow key for a green key and 200 health. That's a really good trade. Okay, so that's probably where the 2nd green key is then. Okay, so yeah, if we're going for the short sword strat, we grab this, grab the water skipper hit, and then 3 yellow keys from somewhere. Alright, so I want a yellow key, because I think getting an attack early on is probably good. So I think I might just start with the mean fish. Well, I take a lot of damage from that. Like, that's not worth it. So I was like looking at my room because it was a roach for a yellow key. Honestly, I can just do that. Which then makes me think I should go through here, grab the attack, and then do that. Because it's cheaper. Right, no reason to go through there. Okay, and that's, I think that cut off 160 damage on these roach queens. Is that right? Can't be, because it's 42 attack. I don't know, some amount. Some big amount. So there's another yellow key there if I want it. But I have a yellow key, so we're going to do this. There's a yellow key there for 150 if I want it. Right, I'm not taking those free gems by the water skipper, because free is very painful and not actually free. Alright, so 100 to get through here. Obviously the defense is score positive. However, attack still helps with a ton of stuff. I think the priority is attack at the moment, so unless I really want to do that for the defense, which I don't think is worth it. We'll just do that for now. Alright, so we have enough attack to actually hurt a spider now. And those evil eyes are looking way more reasonable. Yeah, just getting a few attack points makes a huge difference. But I think our goal now is just to get 25 Greckles. Okay, so there was... If I have 3 shovels, I can just get through here. So I think we'll just do that. Which I guess lets us get that health if we go through the Mad Eye on the other side. Now, how are Mad Eye fights looking now, out of curiosity? Okay, still impossible. Alright, so this is room number 2. It has Sting. Guess that's a Hobbit reference. +5 attack, metal, strong against goblin. Small weapon. Okay, but I do need to fight a Jade Golem to get it. Okay, and these have kobolds, so this is the same person that did this, I guess? There's a... Yeah, okay, so some serious stat inflation is going on here. We do need a pickaxe in order to get the 10 attack. And the 10 defense is probably still going to hurt even with double mist because Gel Babies hit hard. I mean, we could check that. Yeah. Not really doable. Okay, so we got in here, but we need a green key and at least 18 attack before we can get Sting. And even with 18 attack, this thing's going to be hitting us 50 times for 50 damage, which is not ideal, so more than that would be good. Okay, so that answers that though. So with that knowledge, then there's actually no reason to go in there right away. Should have saved before I started doing some stuff. Alright, so we're doing this to start. Then we're doing that. And then we're doing this. Alright. So from here, well, we got some stats. We can come into this room, which will give us a bunch of Greckles if we want it, which we do. The thing about the Greckles is that losing stats permanently, only one defense, but my general assumption, unless we put a bunch of Greckle gates in the boss corridor or people start being very liberal with the Greckle gates on level 2, is that we're probably just going to have a stupid amount of money going into the second level. So making a trade for more money, unless it has an immediate payoff, which, I mean, I am trying to get money, I just don't see it as worth it. Also, something I did consider with this room, you do have the option of doing something like this, which, if I'm permanently locking that off, I absolutely should do, because that gets me a health profit. Yeah. Totally. And more Greckles. So yeah, let's do that. Save. Start. This is probably going to overwrite. Well, will it? Nope, you can have multiple saves with the same name. Okay, that's a slightly better version of that. Okay, I would like to get access to this early on, because that's pretty nice, but I need more stats. More stats for everything. Do I just start taking these neutral trades for the money? I think I kind of do. As silly as that seems. For this... gets me a yellow key, which I don't really need. But... it does let me kill a Roach Queen, which is a lot of money. Alright, so I just need one more roach then. Do that, because that opens up access to some stuff. I think I have enough health for this. I mean, I guess I could have done that roach. Oh well. Alright, let's start looking at these shields. Okay, free shovel. Might as well grab those. That bridge will not collapse if we grab that. Okay, what are we looking at here? Bleached skipper. Yeah, those are pretty tough. You have powder kegs, which I'm assuming work the same as regular DROD. So yeah, the 1% damage we do allow, explosions do 100%. So if it kills you outright, you don't really need to optimize around it. Although I guess with a speed potion they would be half. But that's still fine. $32. Okay, so yeah, these guys don't actually hit all that hard. So if I wanted more shovels, I have a lot more shovels I can grab. More shovels gets me access to a green key. Okay, so I hit one of these. I can spend... Well, I can just demonstrate with this one. Okay, they blow up. So I don't have to actually fight those roaches. And then I get access further in. So this actually looks like a pretty interesting setup. So let's say I wanted to go for the attack. I could then do something like that. I guess the attack is this one, though. But yeah, I could do that, blow it up, get in, push the next one across, blow it up. So yeah, as long as I fight one of the roaches before I blow either of these up, I can then move them. Okay, interesting. Shield. Scroll of Might. Okay, this is probably the same room as the other one. Scrap shield, +5 defense and metal. But we're looking at 20 shovels for 2 green keys for 5 defense. Scrap shield rentals, +5 defense. Recycle your shield with your might shield disposal to receive 1 green key refund. Okay. That's cool. So, oh right, and it is 20 shovels and a green key, or 2 green keys. Yeah, that's pretty pricey, but it is 5 defense. And then presumably if we get the other shield, we can scrap this one. Okay, enjoy our popular offerings for the Wandering Adventure. Health potions, buy 2, get 1 half off. Sure. Rare and valuable blue key. Worth 30 points, assuming that we're on default score, which we probably will be. We'll even throw in a health potion if you act now. Go treasure hunting. See what you can dig up on the beach. No purchase necessary. A free shovel is available. Okay. Access the VIP digging area and bring back something to write home about. Alright, so this just locks that every time, so... that or I can just break in. And not have to spend. So that's an option. Interesting. Scroll of Might. I guess the Scroll of Might does work for... Oh, I can carry it between rooms, so... Scroll of Might, okay. If you're too poor to afford our services, feel free to play in the mud instead. Filthy commoners. Yep. Okay. Well, some interesting stuff in there. So we can fight some stuff. We can light a fuse, which blows up all sorts of things. Interesting. So why would we ever do that? I guess what that does is we start this, and then we get to race the fuse. So I go 1, 2, 3. So if I grab that key, you get one of these. And then I have to run away. One of these would be 200 health in this case. Okay. So, spending this, which I have to do to get down here, basically lets me choose between a key and 200 health or 250 health and 3 shovels, provided I'm willing to do these right away. And then it also gives me access to those. Not bad. So worth doing eventually. Okay. We also have the ability to go down here, so we can check out that other shield maybe, if we can get that far. Hey, free stuff. I love free stuff. Alright, and free access as well. Okay, so I go through here. So this wasn't free because we did have to pay 25 and 2 Mad Eye hits, but we did get through. But we can buy another gem eventually. I guess you activate this? You close everything. Interesting. So... well, that's not even really accessible. I think this unlocked this. And we would need the pickaxe to get out. Assuming we had another way of getting in the first place. That's probably going to be changed in some capacity. Okay, we have a tunnel here that doesn't really matter at all. Well, it lets me save. I can trade a yellow key for a yellow key and health instead of losing a bunch of health. So I can spend a yellow key for 15 health. Not the greatest trade ever, it must be said. Okay, if we come down here though, we get free. Free is good. Okay, and then we got 1,000 health if we dig for it. Are those 3s? Yes, this is 8 shovels or 100 greckles. Well, that's not cheap. We do have a yellow key, so we can go into the door and check the other shield. We can also come down here and check the weapon. Okay, wooden blade. And a blue key. Alright, so what's going on with this room? Far stuff nonsense. And we do get to see all of them. So to get in here, I do need all of these to be open. Which means that I'm spending at least 2,000 health. And then it's just a matter of what order I do these things in. Because it looks like I'm spending between 4 and 8 yellow keys to solve this puzzle. Okay. Because to get all the way around and kill everything, I will have to at least do one full loop. Although, if I can do one full loop, I don't have to fight anybody on the way through. So as long as I open up... yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be too hard to figure out with 4. So I have a hard time imagining this costing anybody more than 5. But we'll see, I guess, when I get to it. So that's very tempting. Yellow keys. So we need 5 keys for that, or 4 keys. Okay, you can't attack across. Interesting. Okay, then if we go in here, we get the wooden shield, which is strictly better than the scrap shield. We will need green and the ability to hurt a mud mother. Okay, so not free. Not even close to free. So I think the wooden blade probably makes the most sense then out of everything. Out of everything that we've seen. Because we've now seen all of the weapons and all of the shields. Sting is quite a ways off. It is better if we're fighting goblins. But otherwise, this is just strictly better. And if we're not getting the short sword. So I think the goal now is just to get yellow keys and 2,000 health. Or we can try to make mud babies cheaper. So stats and health and yellow keys. Alright. Kind of didn't look at this room. Just kind of walked through it. But we can spend some yellow keys here for things. This looked pretty decent. Okay, so that green key, I didn't consider that. I guess if I ignore absolutely everything, maybe it's possible. It would be faster to go this way if you had a sword, because then you can move and attack without spending a turn to bump the nest. And you would be facing in a direction that wouldn't stab the bomb, but I mean, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 extra moves. I mean, you could maybe do it. I feel like this room, though, is a pretty good candidate at this point for doing things. Plus, there's a whole bunch of free shovels here, which we can use here in order to get access to a bunch of things. I feel like we're probably skipping the scrap shield. It is cool, but we're spending 20 shovels and a green key for it. Or I guess we're spending 20 shovels or a green key plus another green key in the short term. For a temporary +5. I don't think that's particularly worth it. There's a lot of good stuff over there, though. And grapples seem to be reasonably tight at the moment, so actually... I probably just want 6 shovels, and then I can get in here. So yeah, these hits aren't too bad. There is health there. That's just a key. This room we could actually look at now. Okay, there is some relatively cheap stuff. This looks pretty good. +1 attack, make the roaches cheaper. What does this get us? eventually 200 health. Well, so like I said, this is good, but this also means that we're not getting this until we have a green key. I feel like there's probably better things we can do with our money than 25 Greckles for that. So I think we might just skip this. Because the thing is, we can save the 25 Greckles if we come in here with a sword later. In fact, I think that's kind of the theme of this whole room. Is that you can save resources if you have a sword. Except for this, which is just worth doing. Okay, reminder that we can go down this way. Those are getting cheaper, 720 each. You can also get that +3 attack for one fight roll. That's going to use up our 3 shovels. We could just buy the 1 defense, but we're kind of short on yellow keys. And there are some. This room does have a lot of things in it, including some easy stats. So I think we actually just go in here at this point, maybe. Key for room access. Okay, so we get that. Not exactly free because we have to pay to come in here. We can do that, which makes everything a lot cheaper. Okay, and now we're trying to decide. Trying to decide if we want more Greckles. And I think I'm going to assume no, even though that does help me. So what does this look like if I go here? That +1 doesn't actually make a difference. I think that defense, the cursed defense gem, might actually be worth it, because we can buy a bunch of shovels with the extra money, which has an immediate value. We can save ourselves 9 shovels here. We can buy a key. Like, there's a lot of things that we can use Greckles on. If we do all of that, well, I guess we probably don't grab that right away. So that gives us 24. if we restart... We are taking more damage from everything. Well, there's not really any reason to take that while we're cursed. Well, okay, we're cursed regardless. So we can end here with 28 health. Or 208 health. We have 42 Gruckles now. Which I guess I would be using on shovels? I mean, that's looking like a decent trade at this point. But there's a lot of fights I can do for shovels. So I think ultimately... Okay, we have 42 Gruckles, but... I think we just do this. We don't even have to do that fight right away. Which means that we don't have to do any of these fights. If we do that, Spider gets cheaper. Plus one attack makes a difference on the Spider though. Like, just because we're here doesn't mean we have to go all the way with here. That stuff's looking relatively cheap. I can save keys by just doing fights, and I want access to this stuff pretty early. Yeah, really, I'm saving... I'm saving like one fight. I'm saving like 400 health by spending a key. So trying to decide if I really want that. Plus one attack. Makes you guys cheaper. We're still not getting through the... Like, this is technically a profit. Yeah, we're still not getting through the egg. We do have this trade we can do whenever, though. So since we need the health, probably do that, because I don't think we needed a yellow key. We do have more yellow keys available. That then lets me go in here right away. Does Evil Eye get cheaper in 2? Wraithbane gets cheaper in 3. Okay, so this is... We're going the attack route. That attack is starting to look pretty cheap. As for this, I mean, we could do some fighting here. If I had a yellow key, let's see a thing I want to do here. Maybe I didn't want to make that trade right away. Now, there is +1 attack there. Oh, I think this is stats. Oh, I can't afford it anyway. Never mind. Well, let's just do some checking here. 1, 2, 3. I'm on the 4, 5. I've got the green key. 6, 7. I still have 1 extra move. Okay. So I have 1 extra move, but I think I counted moving onto the Greco Gate instead of... So that would actually be only... I have 1 extra move if I'm going this way with a weapon, so I don't actually get to grab the health on the way out. And I skipped this key, but I get a green key out of it. Okay, what is next? Where do I even go from here? I guess I just do some fights for Greckles. This room... That's pretty good. But I do need more health before I do this. Yellow keys. Okay, that's decent. It's 100 for a roach. That should let me get through here. I guess I'll save the trapdoors. That lets me get through. I still have to do 1 more fight on the way back, but I think that's worth it. I just kind of assumed I had health available, which was a bad assumption. Or was it? So I'm coming through here, I can grab some health. There is a goblin there. And 11 different enemy types in 1 room. That's a bit excessive, I think. 40,000 for a tar baby, huh? I can also just buy some stuff if I want to. Okay, I only get to run through here once. Oh, I can do that. That's sort of free help. Never getting cheaper. It's gonna take a turn to dig, isn't it? Oh no, you just move immediately. Okay. Scroll of Might. I don't know if there's really any value in getting down here. It lets me get here from below. Going in here, I could actually start taking some fights. But I think we're pretending that room doesn't exist because we don't know how we're going to handle that yet. Alright, so I might have screwed myself here. Okay, health in there. Now we can do the eyes and get through, and that gives us access to more level. So if only I had more health. If only I had more health. When was my last save? Key for room access all the way over here. Okay, well, I guess we'll be slightly suboptimal. And consume this. Well no, we'll have a full loop around, so anytime we want to go through here, we can just do this loop. Which means we never have to take these hits, like, ever. And we never have to take the hot tile hit. So actually, I don't think this matters too much. Because... we are taking... these... which I can get through, but that's questionable. We are taking those once. But we can make those a lot cheaper before we start fighting them, so that's probably fine. Alright, if I need health, I think these are actually some of the better trades I had available. Okay, at this point then, I can now get through this room. Again. Which I think I wanted to do because yeah, that's still expensive. Well, we can go around and get the attack. Right. You are cheaper in 16, so basically never. Get the attack. I say basically never. It will happen pretty soon, honestly. But I need a ton of yellow keys now. Well, there are a bunch of fights I can take. I can just fight the spider for the defense. Probably should. These don't close anything, do they? No. Okay. So I could spend 2 yellow keys to get through there, but even the attack, honestly, isn't that expensive. I mean, I say that. I don't have money. Spider for a while. We're taking a bunch of hits, so we'll just grab the defense. Alright. So with that, we could go for the attack. We do have enough to buy some more shovels if we want. Which does get us access to some good things. We are going to want that defense eventually too, probably. Okay, 2 yellow keys, that's tempting.
Hey! Oof!
That's an attack gem, which doesn't immediately help us, but... Oh no, it doesn't immediately help us, so we're not going to do it. So there are 2 keys there if I want them. There is that defense. Although I think I'm only 1 attack off from being able to kill the egg. At which point that becomes way cheaper. I really want that 3 attack, but I need more health. There is 200 health in this room, though. Also, there's this. I'm just wanting to spend 3 attack. Probably makes sense to do that soon. Interesting. If we get here with 4 yellow keys, we get a refund and a little bit of health. Hmm. 3 more makes mud cheaper. I don't think I need to be terribly concerned with all of this, like trying to hyper-optimize all of these roach fights at this point. I didn't spend all of my keys, so I'm not getting through here yet, but I could. So I should probably figure out what's up with that. I also have money, so I can just start doing stuff like this if I want. But I don't know how long that's gonna last.
Oof!
But that looks pretty good. 44 health for 2 keys. Yeah, I don't even know what to call this. I'll just make a save. Alright. We are... exploring. We need to kill one of you to get through. Hey, there's a yellow key. I will spend the shovel. I think that makes more sense. Okay, well, we're not getting in there, I guess. So this whole section is just inaccessible. Don't have to worry about that. Kind of funny. Now here's a trade where I get to do these in any order, but each time I do one I have to spend a key to do another one. Not amazing. Antlion is doable, actually. How much is it for this defense? 77 times 4. That's a lot. Ah. Wait, is this forcing me to spend all the keys to get out? I'm not entirely sure how the Roach Queen works. I think what I'm seeing here is that I can't get out. And I just can't get out. Okay, well, I mean that answers that. No fights until we killed the Roach Queen. So this whole room, I mean, I guess we could do this fight before killing the Roach Queen, but then we just don't have access to this. Alright, we've made it further down. Rock Golem. Okay, Rock Golem and a Gray Man. Got a room through there which isn't marked, so who knows? Who knows? Okay, 3 shovels for 200 health. Oh, I mean, might as well just grab that, right? So we got this far, our reward is 3 attack. We can now kill eggs, which means that we want to go back to my room. Okay, lots of digging. We need a yellow key and a green key to get to the boss, which hasn't been implemented yet, but that's the goal of the level. And we're still discussing whether or not we want to have the levels be backtrackable.
Nice.
Okay, that just opens that. So what do we got here? Tar Roach. Roach type roachifies tar. Well,
Nice.
I don't think there's anything I can do about that. 10 shovels. Alright. A portable crate. Interesting. Custom accessory that's potentially going to cause issues with the puzzles other people set up, but that's part of the idea of this whole thing. That people can do weird things. Alright, so we have to get through the Tar Roach without... So it's just one of these puzzles. Don't release any of these, and then get to the end. Which opens those. Clearing all of the tar opens the other side, so that's pretty nice. And then some key trade stuff down here. Alright, and then we just get to go around. Portable crate is an accessory. Using it will create a crate underneath you, right where you are standing. This might destroy some things like scrolls. If there's already a crate there, or something that will destroy a crate, then too bad, you wasted your portable crate. So yeah, I've never really played around with crates, but I think what they do is they let you door walk. So like if I did it right here, for example, I would have a crate under me, and then I'd just be able to go here and grab all that stuff, and then jump back onto the crate and go to the other side. The tricky part about crates is they are pushable objects, so in order to climb onto a crate, it needs to be pushed against a wall, I think. And then I can also get through there. Okay. So yeah, I don't think there's anything to do in these rooms just yet. I guess there's some fights for keys if I need more yellow keys, which I kind of do because there's a wooden sword. Oh, that's pretty nice. If I want more health, that's good to keep in mind. Oh yeah, that roach queen we can access from here. Okay. Right. Not this room. I wanted my other room. So I think it's probably time to do this. Although I don't have enough health for it. I do have 500 here, though. How does that compare to this? Well, that's clearly better. Alright, back we go. Probably just going to do both of them, to be honest, but it's not that long. Alright. So we can beat that, which gets us this. And the cheapest way to do this is actually from this side, because now that we've been able to get through that roach egg, we can grab the defense for 50. Let's do attack, and you're cheaper. Okay, mud is 7, so we hit a... You're right, because we got the 3 attack gem in that other room. So actually, you are now cheap. Right, you're looking at that, so we definitely will kill you. And we'll save our keys. Go for the attack. So, mud babies are now in the realm of possibility. Ah. And we can now attack bleached skippers. So yeah, our attack is starting to grow pretty tremendously. This whole peg puzzle, I mean, if we had more keys, it might have been worth playing around with. Still looking for yellow keys for getting that sword. So I may have probably put this off more than I should have. But if we can get a few yellow keys here, well, I can do this now. So if I grab that yellow key, I miss out on everything else. If I had done it from the other side with a sword, I would have been able to get 3 shovels. Now I can just ignore that and get both of these. 3 shovels and 200 health or a yellow key. That's an interesting trade. And then, obviously, I grab all those either way. You know what? I think we're just going to do that because we get the defense right away. Which gives us some stuff, but it also makes roaches free. So now, time to loot everything. Obviously, I don't need to super optimize this just yet because things will be changing. Brain, right. Might as well get the grackles. So, some pretty accessible yellow keys. Speaking of which... oh, also, we've never looked down here. Almost certainly don't want to do this because we want the sword. Okay, so at a glance, there's actually not that much in here. We've got some, like, nothing big, I mean. So, sorry for locking off your room and making it super expensive to get in here. We have poison flakes. I mean, we've got a bunch of stuff we can fight, although there are briar. Or there is Briar, even, by good English. So, I mean, we do get some stuff back. If I do this, how bad does that look down there? Okay. So, I mean, obviously we don't grab the free stuff first. I don't grab the free stuff because I have health. Okay, these do that. So I probably do this first. And then if I want that other 50 health, I have to do the 296 for it, so that's just not worth it. But I could do this. And then get all this. Oh. Scary. And also could have done all of that with, whoops, with one more defense. Which is tempting. And then we still end with 3 keys, which I think, well no, we started with 1. Okay.
You have alarms going off all over the games you didn't close.
Okay, so this is something worth doing for the stats, but again, swords can make poison plates a lot cheaper. And yeah, still looking for yellow keys. That's a spider for yellow. That's not too expensive. We need a weapon before we go in there. Also, I do have the health now, so if I'm ever going to do it, it makes sense to do it now. I mean, it gets cheaper with defense. Probably not. So, if we're planning on getting a shield at some point. Alright, so we can go through here for health profit and a bunch of shovels. This room we can probably do a bunch of stuff, and it's relatively cheap to just go through at this point. There is a roach queen though. So I could do that if I wanted to force this. Interesting. Is forcing this good? Not really, but... lots of +1 attacks for faster wins, okay. Well, oh, I have 4 keys. How'd that happen? Okay, well. Do that. And then I guess we have to check out how this is going to work. So if I just jump in without really looking at it, I can toggle a bunch of stuff. But the problem is I just kind of ended up back where I started, and I'm never... I mean, that one's on mud, I guess. Which kind of makes sense. So the goal ultimately is to change the thing into mud. So if we do gel here, then we want to avoid toggling it. I mean, I guess... The way this is set up, I'm starting to think it's probably... Let's see, we've got both muds leading into mud, both tars leading into tar, both gels leading into gel, both gel leading into tar. So this is the odd one out. Which is where we can possibly make a difference. But I'm starting to think this is going to be more than 4 keys if I want to do it all as mud babies. So doing this tar first shouldn't make that much of a difference. So I can now avoid. It gets me one of you. I can't change you the way I want. Okay, but now this changes you. Okay, this changes you. You just run around a bunch of times, and then it just works. Okay, that's kind of weird. Well, that's what we will do. And we have a weapon. Okay, we want to deal with this Roach Queen. If we ever want to fight other stuff in this room, which is starting to look pretty good. You could be cheaper though. So now that we have our sword, well, we'll do that for one thing. That just closes those afterwards, so I guess there's not really any reason not to do that. It's interesting. I was wondering why is that white instead of gray? What's the difference? It's like, well, the difference is it depends on which way you're facing. Okay, well that's never going to get cheaper. So it's just 2 green keys for all of that stuff, but it's good. Definitely worth doing. We do need another green key for this as well. So I think we're looking for green keys now. Wraithwings are free. That. You guys aren't even all that expensive anymore, so that's good. 100 for a green key, or 13 shovels. 100 Breckles, pretty expensive. There's a green key. Well, I think do that. Still have one more. Plus we can buy more. Okay, you guys are rapidly getting cheaper. Let's run back to this side of the level and grab our free stuff. Okay, still have to fight those from behind. Okay, you guys are not free.
Hey!
I don't have enough for that. That's fine. Ah, free shovels. Kill you for the grapples. There we go. I guess we'll do that. We don't need the +1 just yet. There's a second green key, though.
Oof! Oof!
We could get +2 attack. Might as well. Alright, just hitting attack thresholds. That's probably pretty good, but I think we're on the way to... on the way to a shield. I just took a wrong path. Alright, right, so we want to do that. We had one more green key. Is there one more green key available somewhere? So if we had one more, we could get this without... yeah, because you're doable. We could get the shield before coming in here and save ourselves 18, 36 damage, whatever. Which isn't a whole lot, but ooh, 3 green keys for 2. It's an expensive trade. There is this. There's 13 or 100. You know what? I think we're at a point where we have more grapples than we need. Who knows what the next level is going to be like. I'm not here to be concerned about that. +2 would make you cheaper. It's only +1. +2 makes mud babies cheaper. Okay, maybe... There were attack gems available. I think there's that. I think the 2 attack makes more of a difference, honestly. So we will... Yeah. Up. Alright. Oops. Oh, also, right, I can make you cheaper. And worth more Greckles. Okay, so we have our shield finally. So now... Got a refund. Okay, we can go through there. Yeah, those are almost free at this point. I do have a few more keys. Or a few more shovels I can be spending on things. Okay, well, now that you guys are free, I can do that. Yes, the queen is spawning. I don't think... Yeah, I don't think we're getting through her. Or free. It's going to be 3 shovels or 3 fights, which is going to involve a key. I feel like the 3 shovels is probably less valuable than a yellow key. But I'm not entirely sure. Okay, we got more green keys here. This room, again, I'm just going to ignore. Even though it is starting to look pretty nice. This room should have a bunch of free stuff in it. Free green key, we'll take that. Right, we actually wanted to go down here, didn't we? Because poison flakes do get cheaper if we get more attack. At this point, defense seems more likely. I can do that whenever I want, which reopens this and also opens those. +2 for that. The puff. Is there anything in this room I actually care about, though? Like, these blue keys seem kind of ridiculous. What opens the red doors? Just you? The blue keys seem completely ridiculous when there's a yellow key option here. So I'm assuming the blues are just for aesthetics. Okay, I mean, there is a bunch of free stuff in here, but... Does it even really matter? Looking at 52 for you, but if I just wanted... I guess I'm spending 8 shovels for a yellow key. Like, I might as well just do that, and that gets me defense for dealing with the bottom room. This still seems expensive relative to what I'm getting out of it. Well, we are starting to look pretty nice in terms of keys. So I'm actually just going to go through here at the green. And I think at this point, I'm kind of done optimizing. I'm just gonna clear stuff. Okay, defense first. Okay. Defense first. Okay, we're on this side first, because... Well... No, it is growing over here. Good, do the outlines. I guess it's going to be 87 for each. That's going to be quite a bit of health. When do you get cheaper? 1. Alright, easily doable. Let's explore this room. Yep, I don't think there was anything I could do about that, though. If I didn't grab that free attack right away, this would have been cheaper. Okay. Think. You are a ways off still. So... spend the green key. Ah, flippers. I'm sure that exists for a reason. Can't think of what it is, though. There's nothing in the room to push around. Ramping eye.
Oof.
Well, I don't know how to feel about that, because... I do know how I feel about that. I really don't like it. Because this makes it incredibly hard to know how much you're spending at any given point to get to a certain distance. And I guess the idea here then is that you're probably just spending as much as you can to avoid having to take fights. So 250. And I still have 56 left over. Not sure if that was worth it. Okay, so come in without an accessory. I need more money.
Ah! Ah!
Alright. Alright, apologies for the roommates yelling. It's kind of hard to get a good time to record. It's always hard to know. Okay, so you're down to 1 for the Roach Queen. Hard to know how much I'm saving on these Mad Eyes realistically at this point. Like, every defense helps, but is it really even necessary? We do have a bunch more stats now. I'm just assuming that whole section I did was worth doing. Alright, so if I want more stats, what's even left to do at this point? Like, everything's kind of done. I think maybe it's time to start manually marking things. So this room, there we go. I don't think there's anything else left to do here, because I can't get to the Roach. And that's not score neutral, and it just cost me a bunch of keys. These, I might still conceivably kill a kobold for the key. I assume that's how that's going to play at this point. This, I could take damage for a key, so that's possibly worth doing. This is looking expensive. There's really no point in ever getting the scrap shield at this point. Also, I've got 25 shovels. So... I just hit that, that's what went on there. Might as well grab this stuff. I have way more yellow keys than I need. I no longer have 25 shovels. I don't really need the blue key though. So I think this room is basically done unless I want to spend more money on things. Oh. Okay, well. There is 4 shovels for 200. I guess there's that portable crate, which can potentially break things. As well just get that. Okay, never getting that one. I feel like I probably do just want to spend the keys here. Or the shovels. So now if I go through you, I mean there is an arrow there, so I guess we're still doing the yellow key eventually, but it does get us access to this room. Ten defense. Yeah, we'll take that. You're free now, for what that's worth. Also worth noting, I could have blown the bomb up to give myself a spot to fight. Okay, spiders are free because I have ridiculous armor. Right, still ignoring that room. Mud babies are still going to be expensive for a while. I think we just deal with that room now, because we're running out of stuff to do. I'm putting it off mostly because it's confusing. Might as well grab the Greckles. Okay. The free spider. You are free. Do I care enough to go through? I guess I do, because I'm doing it. It's not that bad, because I don't care how this stuff lines up anyway. Okay. How are you looking? 47, okay. So now if we get to here, well, no, we just cleared this thing, so we can do this. The way this is set up... The way this is set up, I guess I'm probably just doing one of these. Okay, if I come through here... Do that. don't even drop that. I guess if I had dug through here, I could have made you free. Or not free, but really cheap. So that's an optimization thing to keep in mind for the future as well. We can also just spend some health for a yellow key. Okay. Well, we know we're doing it eventually, so let's just open it up. We made it to the boss. Okay. Grab the defense, because it makes a difference. I guess this is the stat line that we're doing. Why is the tar roach's damage going down? I take 117. I really do not like that. Well, I just have to do that, which is not good. So did I do the puzzle wrong? Start with that. Nope. I have to do this. So doing that didn't work out. For some reason I thought this wasn't going to be good either. Correct. I guess I have the option of doing this, which does change some things. Okay, that looks a little bit more promising. I think I have to do that. I can fight you. And actually at this point, it doesn't matter if I kill all of you. Freckles and Tar. Okay, I have a portable crate. That's not the special command button. Is it tab? There we go. Alright, what kind of nonsense can I do with this? Okay, first of all, that is not climbable. Okay, yeah, I can push it around, but I can't pick it up again. However, I can... Yeah. If I'm able to get stuck on a wall, I can do stuff like that. Alright, well, that's almost certainly going to be abusable. Hit you from behind. You will be cheaper soon, though. Okay. Also, you're on a pressure plate. Ah. Okay, that could have saved me a yellow key. But at this point... I mean, there's not really much point in playing the level anymore, I think, because for testing purposes, things are going to change, and I still have a ton of stuff I can pick up. People do seem to be posting their final stats, though, so I guess I will just pick up everything that is somewhat reasonable to pick up. I'm not going to do certain trades, but let's see. So yeah, at this point I'm not super optimizing, I'm just... I think that's worth 160. 158 even. I'm just going to grab as many stats as I can. Okay, we can't get in there. Here, this is 2 yellow keys for health profit. There's this room that I still haven't started. Well, at this point... I don't even know if this thing is even worth picking up. Like, I just have so much attack. I guess it makes a gray man cheaper. There is a gray man in here. So I guess we could pick up one of them. Tar babies can be made cheaper as well. I've got no idea what the ratio is on these, but I have a lot of resources, so I'm just going to do that. What do you open? You open the red. Okay, so we do want to do that. We'll leave a crate there for now. Was that not a scroll? It was, and I used it on a roach. Okay, so if I wanted to, for example... So it says 664. Oh, do I just have the +3 currently? Is that how this works? Okay, good. That probably makes it easier for calculations. So is there anything in here that needs 3 or less? Tar and Gray Man. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, probably just do that. Oh, we can open the blue doors as well. Okay. Not purely for aesthetics then. Might as well. I don't think you are worth fighting for a Scroll of Might. I don't think you're worth fighting for 3 shovels. So, might as well just grab my stats. And we'll call it good. I only need to fight one of those for that, so we'll come back for it later. Can get you from behind, which we have to do to get this green key anyway. This is technically score positive. Just do it. Is that score positive? 2 greens for a blue is not. Okay, we're still ignoring that room. This room, you guys are a bunch of fights for shovels. I'm gonna not do that. This is score positive. Those are not. We'll save the Gruckles. Okay, fighting those are score positive. What are the costs from behind? I think it's still probably worth just doing that. However, if I'm going to do anything that involves taking damage, I might as well do that first. The mean fish do hit twice, but if I get +3, I can just take them out. Okay, I don't think there is that much attack left on the level. So I'll get the 1. Okay. So if we just go through here, finished, finished, finished. Okay, we're going to be finished with all of these. I think, yep. Still doing a fight here, but we would like 2 more attack first. That's a thing to get. I think that's the last thing to get there. We could use the portable crate to hop this. And then, as long as we fought enough, what's the defense on that thing? 40? Yeah, so that would be significantly cheaper if we did a bunch of fights. We can't get in here, but we can do 4 fights, which would let us kill the rattlesnake. I guess that's worth checking out. I'm not going to. Probably. I mean, a pickaxe, you have to use the pickaxe to get out, but then you're losing a portable crate to get in, and all you're getting for it is 2 defense and 1 attack. So I'm going to say that's almost certainly not worth it. But you could do it. That's completely walled off. You can't use the crate even to get in there. I could go in there. That's a thing I could have done a while ago. Okay. Oops. 3 more defense would have been nice. 1,000 health if I trade keys. That's score positive. That's technically score positive. Alright, so there's a few things left to pick up, but we're basically done at this point. Decide whether or not it's worth getting the blue keys. I'm just going to say no, but that I'll just make a note that there are 2 blue keys that I can trade resources for. I mean, I guess if I'm going for a score... Oh, no, that's not. 15 health, it might be score, but then no, because shovels, I think, are 1 point apiece. I mean, that would be score positive, but I'm not going to. Do I need to go through here? No. Right, so here, I'm saying, well, okay, I need to, that's where the, so I could do that. Later. But then I have to use this to get out. So yeah, I can save myself some shovels, but that just seems horrendously expensive. But we can grab the key. That's points. Okay, I don't need to just go through every single room again. There were specific goals you had. This room, that was one. Yeah, because we go through here, we spend the money, we spend 100 health. We get more money to make that cheaper. And we've actually got a free golem now. Yeah, as confirmed, the item prevents the spread of the mist. Might as well grab the Greckles. Okay. And that is everything, I think. Oh, Mud's free now, so that's more Greckles. More Greckles. Okay. No reason to get Sting. This is what we needed the pickaxe for, but we can't actually get that 10 attack because we can't get out with the pickaxe. You have 14 Greckles. That is not worth a green key. Sting is in fact inferior to our current weapon, unless we specifically want to fight a goblin. Alright, I think that's it. I think I have done everything that there is to do here. Right, this room. One of the things I was considering doing as my very first action ended up being saved for last. Okay. I might have missed a few things here and there, but I think overall that was a pretty good clearing out of everything. So I did not grab a single thing from 5 South to West, and those were my final stats, for what it's worth. Alright, and I will be coming back to this once we start doing some updates, although I don't know if I need to do a playthrough every single time, but I got a gist for it. This level actually ended up being way more interesting than I expected, so that's good. There are just, you know, obvious issues with that, but if you don't have the sword, I think honestly, if you don't have that short sword available, like just sticking a broken wall in here so that you had to have a sword to get this sword, that would make it an upgrade that you could get later. Or again, you know, reversing this so that you have to hit this, which would require specifically the wooden blade because Sting couldn't do it. Wooden blade, I think it came with a blue key, which I never spent. I saw people talking about that. So yeah, overall, actually, good job, everybody. This was pretty fun. There is an issue, though, of, I think this is just a consequence of the level being so big, is that you get to a point where your stats are high enough that you can just clear everything that's left. And because it's such a big level, that just means you have a stupid amount of resources. So that is a thing to consider. For the boss room, we can always put a gauntlet in here. I don't know if having like 10 yellow keys and 10 green keys as a requirement for getting into the boss room is reasonable. But, and then I also didn't use the portable crate, which could have been used to save some extra resources as well. So, I mean, it's hard to know. We'll be tweaking it, and then we'll have a second level, which, that's the other thing. I mean, I joked in chat earlier because I saw people coming out of this level with so many keys. It's like, oh, well, we'll just make rooms on the next level where it takes 8 yellow keys to progress, right? So there's always that possibility as well. But yeah, anyway, sorry, rambling. That will be it for now. I will see you next time for something else.